What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. My name is Chris Drummond. I'm a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here. I also work in sales and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. Her name is Kimi Fleming. She is based out of the Washington DC area. She is a video editor and a photojournalist in that city, and we're going to talk to her about her why of getting into journalism. We're going to get to know her a little bit as well, ask her some fun questions. So without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful and the talented Kimi Fleming. Good morning. How we doing, Kimi?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's wonderful to see your face. You look absolutely lovely in the blue. I love it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Absolutely, no question. I also want to say thank you for hopping on my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. How's your week going so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. My week's going all right so far. Today is my Sunday. I'm off on Mondays and Tuesdays with working in the news. So it's been a long week. It's been nice to have a couple days off, and I'm back at it again tomorrow.
I know that's right. I love it. I love it. So basically, what I want to do is I want to reiterate to you why I wanted to have you on here on my podcast. I know that you're a video editor and a photojournalist based outside of the DC area, or is DC Arlington, Virginia? They're pretty close together, but
They're pretty close. My office is in Arlington, but I work in the DC media market.
got you. So say less. So basically, I'm a journalist here in Minnesota. Have been so for the past 6, 7 years. I'm freelance now, which is amazing. I love the freelance life. And I love to talk to other journalists about their why and get to know them. Everybody has a story to tell. We're so used to going to get the stories, Kimi, that we don't have a chance to sit down and talk like this and be able to share our stories, right? So, and your story is just as special as anyone else's to hear. So, I'm looking forward to actually getting to know you and hearing your why. So, without any further ado, my first question is the same as it always is. What is your why of getting into the journalism business? Did you have any inspirations, any role models growing up? Um, did this just fall into your lap? Some people say is that sometimes it does that, or did you always know you wanted to do this? But what is your why of getting into the journalism industry?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I always laugh when I answer that because I never even thought about being a journalist until actually, sorry if my cat is making noises. He has no
You
personal
okay?
boundaries, so he might make an appearance.
Awesome. I love it.
But actually in high school, I was recruited to take a journalism class. And my freshman year of high school, I absolutely fell in love with it. My teacher was awesome. I just loved the people and I learned so much about it. Like in that first introductory course that I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. Like, and I kind of realized I always was a good writer. And I realized, wow, like storytelling is really interesting to me and it doesn't feel like work. Like it was just so much fun. It felt like a break in my day in high school. So I did that all throughout high school. And then I kind of realized, okay, I want to do this as my career. I didn't know where I wanted to go with it. And then that's what I ended up studying in college. I went to the University of Maryland, College Park, studied journalism, fantastic journalism school. And I ended up like taking a bunch of different courses there. And throughout my, college career, I fell in love with videography and I found an amazing mentor in one of my professors. She was the first woman chief photojournalist at CNN.
Oh wow.
And she's absolutely incredible and just her passion for journalism and visual storytelling just radiated and it definitely spoke to me and it kind of just took off from there. I realized I love talking to people, I love meeting people and hearing their stories, and the most important part of it to me is being able to give a voice to the people that don't have that platform and to tell those stories, and like if you're covering a news event to make it people focused, because like stories about people are so much more interesting than just covering the news. So that's kind of my why. I just really I love getting to know people and learning every single day. I absolutely love learning. And as you probably know, being a journalist every day is different, and you're going to learn so much about so many different people, about different ways of life. And I just think it's incredible.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the reasons why I wanted to do it for sure. The fact that every day is different. Being in sports, you cover different things, you write about different things, you see different things, and I just didn't want a job that was like redundant over and over again, like a desk job. I really would have hated that, to be honest with you. So I love the fact of doing something different. That's awesome and cool, though, that you had a great mentor like that in college. What was her name? The woman of the first woman that you said at CNN.
Her name is Bethany Swain. She's an absolutely incredible journalist. Now she does like a lot of freelance stuff, but she was an amazing professor at the University of Maryland, like formed their broadcast curriculum. Just such an amazing person.
I love it. I love it. Shout out to Miss Swain. That's what's up. I love that. You talked about it. You went to the University of Maryland. Talk to me.
Mhm.
Were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to the University of Maryland?
So I actually only applied to two schools when I was graduating high school. I applied to Maryland. I didn't really want to. I'm from Maryland. I didn't really want to go in state, but I had toured the journalism school, and I absolutely fell in love with it by touring it. That really persuaded me, and I was just kind of like, "This is where I want to go." And thankfully, I got in. It's not an easy school to get into, especially in state. But the only other school I applied to was Penn State, and I also got in there. But proximity, family is here. It just kind of worked out, and I would not have changed it for the world.
I feel that. Okay, Penn State. Now, some people just, are hell bent and like, yo, I want to stay close. I don't want to go too far. Even though Penn State's not crazy far from
Yeah.
Maryland, but University of Maryland is definitely not as far. So I love asking that question because you get all different kind of schools. I mean, there's great
Mhm.
journalism schools from Northwestern, Indiana, Arizona State, Missouri, Syracuse. There's all kinds of great journalism schools. So it's pretty cool that you were able to stay home. How special is it for you to get a job to where you don't have to be that far away from home, right? Working in the DC area, anybody knows that's ever been over there, Baltimore and DC are like right smack next to each other. So talk to me how special that is, working in your home, pretty much your hometown.
Yeah, it's something I thank God for every day. Like I'm so incredibly grateful for it. Like I said, my family is here. I'm also an avid horseback rider. I've been riding horses and competing since I was 2 years old. So I'm able to still ride my horse and compete nationally. I used to go internationally, still keeping that on my radar though. But that's kind of like the biggest thing for me. And I think I'm so lucky that I know this area so well, and it's definitely proven to be incredibly helpful in my career. Having grown up here and just knowing the area so well, I know I've had actually like pitched a couple stories and helped reporters being like, "Hey, there's this like restaurant around the corner. Let's go interview them." I used to go there all the time. And so stuff like that is just really awesome. And then also my family gets to watch, the work that I'm doing on TV every night, which is just really cool. Like they think it's amazing. I finally have hit that point in my career where I'm like the not wanderlust, but like the wonder of it being like, oh my gosh, like this thing I did is on television is kind of finally over. It was definitely intimidating at in the start of it coming right out of college, but especially in a top 10 news market, I'm so lucky that I was able to start in DC straight out of college. I'm just so incredibly lucky, and I have a lot of friends still in the area, so I'm really grateful for it.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head. Normally, our professors tell us that we have to move to some obscene city that we haven't been to before, and we got to research. You got to start in a small market, but I think those days are kind of over, Kimmy. I really do. I think those days of having to do that coming out of college, it just to me, I just think that you start where you can. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I just think that old school type of mentality of where you have to do that is going by the wayside now. I think that if the talent is there, the experience of you knowing the city and experience of you having journalism in you is there, then you'll start in a pretty good market. And obviously, DC area is a beautiful market to be in. So I love that for you. I really do. Not a lot of people get a chance to work in their hometown right off the
Yeah.
bat. It's a pleasure, no question. But it goes to your work ethic as well. So kudos to you for that. I want to ask you some favorite questions. Okay,
Okay,
so you just give me some of the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions that I have. Kimmy, are you ready?
I think so.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's rock. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Favorite meal I like to cook? Potatoes. Anything potatoes, like skillet potatoes, fried potatoes, baked potatoes. It's easy, but you can cook potatoes so many different ways.
You can. Okay. What about cheesy potatoes?
Yeah, cheesy potatoes, garlic
Okay.
potatoes. There are so many options.
Wow, I like that. Okay, so we just eating straight potatoes, or we getting some protein in it, so
I
we
would say
getting.
that's my side meal, but also like I can add a little chicken, a couple like some broccoli in there, make a little like bowl situation.
Oh, yeah, Kimmy, you already won my heart already. I got other favorite questions lined up. I love it. Meat and potatoes. Who don't like that? Come on now. That's a simple meal. Um, Favorite concert you ever attended?
Okay, this is a good question because I've been to a lot of concerts this year. I actually might need to think. I was at a concert last night. Okay.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I was.
Mm,
Um, let me think. Favorite concert. I have to say, does a festival count?
sure, absolutely.
I went to the Oceans Calling Festival in Ocean City, Maryland this year, and I have to say All American Rejects was probably one of my favorites. I mean,
Wow.
it's like an oldies, but like not oldies, but like 90s. I love that type of music, like punk rock, punk pop. Oh my God. And their stage presence was just insane for them still out there doing it.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely know about the All American Rejects. No question about that. That's what's up. Okay. I like that. Yeah, festivals are definitely concerts. One of my favorite ones was, I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called Dreamville. It's actually J. Cole's festival that he puts on in North Carolina. So when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, going to undergrad, I went to Dreamville Fest. That was
That's
amazing.
awesome.
It was amazing. No question. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Probably Ireland. When I
Wow.
was
Okay.
16, my cat is coming in the picture again. When I was 16, I made the world championship team for Team USA for my sport in horseback riding. And the world championship was in Mill Street, Ireland, which is south of Cork. And so I basically spent 2 months that summer. Like we started in Northern Ireland, we had our training camp, drove to South Ireland, and it's just such a beautiful country. And then I spent the rest of the summer living with my coach and a friend of mine in England, traveling all over Europe, like competing that year. But of all of the places I've been there, definitely Ireland. I would say in the United States, Traverse City, Michigan. Just absolutely stunning. But
Okay, and you're not the first person to say that on my platform here. I've heard that city before. I'm very intrigued to go to that city in Michigan for sure. And I'm also intrigued to go to London. No question about that. That's on the bucket list. For me, it's Jamaica when I went to Jamaica. So definitely had a good time there. Great scenery, great jerk chicken as well. Tremendous. Best jerk chicken you'll ever have in your life. No question. Okay, I'm a sport person, Kimmy, so I've got to ask you a sports question. So, favorite sport you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to attend in person?
favorite sport I like to attend in person, college basketball. I'm a Terp and I was never a big sports person until I went to Maryland and I was like, okay, like I can get behind this. When my freshman
Mm,
year, Bruno Fernando was like shooting threes and just like everyone was going crazy for him. That was like, this is so much fun. Um,
okay,
and then favorite sport to watch on television, think honestly professional basketball. My boyfriend's been getting me into the NBA and like I just think it's really interesting, it's so easy for the teams to be upset and when it comes down to the last seconds on the clock sometimes it's like intense. I just like the faster paced sports.
okay. Well, shout out to Bruno Romano. Shout out to your boyfriend for getting you involved in the NBA. He obviously is a good people's because the NBA is the best sport, in my opinion. But I love all sports, being a sports reporter, except cricket. Can't get behind cricket. I don't know what the hell that is. But
I love cricket.
oh my gosh.
Actually,
Oh,
when I was living internationally with my coach, that was his favorite sport to watch was cricket, and those games go on because he was Welsh and he lived in England,
Okay.
so those games go on for days at a time, and they're just,
Right.
like, are crazy. Like, I don't know, it's kinda interesting to watch. People get really into cricket.
Yeah, so I've heard. I wouldn't personally know that because it just don't hit my TV. But you know what? Shout out to people that definitely love cricket. I'm just not one of those. I don't hate it though, to be honest with you. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. So I need to be able
Yeah,
to engulf myself a little bit more so I can, at least appreciate it a little bit more. So I like that though. You said basketball, college and pros. I like that.
yeah.
Last of the favorites, because I've been to Baltimore before. I've been on a double decker bus in DC. You know about that. Been to Union Station. Been all around. I need to know some good restaurants though, because I'm a huge foodie. So I need to know some good restaurants. And what's your favorite restaurant to eat at?
Okay, my favorite restaurant to eat at would probably be are we talking breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
It don't matter. Yeah, whatever
Okay,
you like.
I'm gonna go
Like
with
them all.
brunch. My favorite brunch that I've had is Vagabond in DC.
Vagabond. Okay.
They have, like, the best brunch food. They have just their menu is very, like, small, but it's just so good. They had, like, portion sizes are really good. They do, like, a bottomless brunch deal. Their espresso martinis are incredible. That would probably be my favorite. I've been to a lot of my friends are foodies, so they've been kinda taking me to different places. I'm not the biggest into researching restaurants and whatnot, but that's been my favorite so far.
Okay, no doubt. Next time I obviously come out there, I'll definitely have to say hello to you and definitely go to back. That's for sure. No question. I'm with that. Okay, what's up? I want to talk to you about your day to day. Obviously, as we mentioned before, journalist days are never the same. They're always changing every single day. We do different things. We don't have an 8 to 4, 9 to 5 type of schedule. Our schedules are very different. Um, Talk to me about getting ready for the day to day each day. Like, what is your process? What time do you go in? What time do you normally get off? And how many stories do you do a day? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I'm a photojournalist at ABC 7 WJLA in DC.
Mhm.
My day to day, like you said, looks different every day, but my hours are 3:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. I work the night shift,
Yeah.
night side, and it's definitely an adjustment. I worked night side at my very first job, um, and it's difficult for a lot of reasons, but I also love it because of the people that work on that shift with me as well. But getting ready for the day, I drive into work. I have a bit of a commute to get there from Maryland, but normally traffic isn't too bad. And then we have a 3:30 editorial meeting where we kind of talk about the stories that we've done earlier in the day, what's working, what's trending on digital, and then just the reporters. So we have two night-sided reporters traditionally, and they'll pitch their stories. Sometimes I'm set with a reporter or assigned a reporter, and I'm working just on their story that day. And that's really fun. I love working with reporters and the collaboration part of the job. I just think, like I have my own creative abilities, reporters have their own creative abilities, and combining those to make like the best product possible is just really special to me.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's something I really enjoy about the job. And if I'm not with a reporter, I'm what we call floating, which is basically going to a couple events that our assignment desk will be like, hey, can you go shoot some VO and interview some people here for like what we call a VOSOT on television?
Yep.
Um, or they'll just be like, hey, there's some breaking news. Here's the address. Go check it out. See what you can find out. So
I love it.
it
Okay.
really is different every day. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad, just depending on like, sometimes you don't have it in you. And it's just like you have to do it. And then other days it's like you're absolutely loving your job and you're like, this is why remembering why I became a journalist. So
Cool.
definitely is a roller coaster, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, you're working. You're pretty much working the sports shift, which is the nighttime shift, pretty much. No question. I love the fact that you said about the VOSIT. For those that don't know what that is, and whenever I do post this video, that is voiceover sound on tape. That's what VOSIT actually means. For the technical people that are journalists, or not journalists and that want to know. I want to ask you about work life and mental health, work life balance and mental health. Because Kimmy, those two things are just so important in our industry, in any industry really, but the industry that we are in, they're very important because I've had colleagues leave because of that, and I'm sure you've known some people in the industry that have talked about that and possibly have left as well. How do you balance your work life balance and also your mental health? Obviously, you hear words like burnout, overworked, underpaid in our industry quite a bit. Now, you already talked about the difficulties a little bit in your previous answer of the shift, and for obvious reasons. So, tell me, how do you balance your work life balance? Because you seem like a wonderful person to be around. I certainly wouldn't mind being friends with you. I'm sure you have plenty of friends there, but you're also about your business and you work at that night side. So how do you balance that and also maintain good mental health?
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because it's something that I know I'm constantly working on, and it's a conversation I'm having with my colleagues and friends just so often.
Hmm.
Getting into this industry at such a generally young age and in a top 10 market is intimidating. It's stressful. It's high paced. And
Right.
you have to be ready for that. And I am the type of person that's like so motivated, like perfectionist to a point. And I just am like, I want to get it done. I'm going to get it done my way. But at the same time, like, I am always tired because of that. It's like, it's a very difficult balance, especially with my hours. I don't have a normal sleep schedule. I don't have the same schedules as most of my friends, so it's really hard to see people, and that's the difficult part of it I'm still working with, but, in terms of prioritizing my mental health, I make sure to do things outside of work that are important to me and help and make me happy because
Hmm.
you're more than your job at the end of the day, and I think that's something especially my generation, having graduated journalism school is, like, prioritizing more. And so, even though I love my job so much and I'm so passionate about it, there's more to me as a person than just a journalist. So,
Absolutely.
like I mentioned earlier, horseback riding is like the biggest thing in my life that I've worked really hard to keep in my life. It's not easy balancing that schedule. Having a horse takes a lot of time and money and energy. So, but I've grown up with it, so I'm used to having that. And I absolutely need her in my life. I have my horse on. I'm currently living on my parents' or my grandparents' farm at the moment, so I have my horse here. I take care of her every single day and just spending time with her and riding, like, it just, like, allows me to stop thinking about the world and just connect with nature and connect with my horse, and that's a really special thing to me,
Sure.
and then also,
Sure.
I've gotten into reading, and so just taking the time, out of my day to kind of be mindful and listen to books, and I do audiobooks because I drive a lot with my job, so that's been really great to just kinda make time for myself, feeling like I'm being productive even if I'm, not cleaning the house or doing other things. I'm reading a book, I'm still doing things and making time for my friends and family. And that's the most difficult part that I'm still working on. But
Mhm.
everyone in my life is so understanding. They know how much I love my job. And they're like, we understand that you're busy, we're busy, but we're going to make time for
Sure.
you when we can. And so
Absolutely.
that's really, those are the big three things that have saved my mental health because it's a heavy industry. It's difficult physically, mentally, emotionally. You see a lot of things that normal people, everyday people don't always see. And so it
Mhm.
can take a toll on you. You have to take care of yourself.
I love that answer. I really do. And you gave great answers so far. I'm sure you're
Thank
gonna give
you.
great answers continuing. I'm really sure of that. But it's a question worth asking. And because people should know. It's one of the reasons why I do this podcast is the A and B side of it, right? The A side of us going out there doing stories, being advocate for the people, pillars in our community. We love doing this. We love talking to people. And there's no better feeling in the world when I pull up to a gas station or a grocery store. People say, "I love the story that you did. I watched the story that you did." Because people see you in the community and they recognize you. So it's amazing. But the B side is what you just said. It's difficult sometimes to get with friends on a schedule because you're on a schedule that doesn't align with your friends a lot. It's also sometimes you have to, in most cases, not sure about your case, but most cases, you're missing holidays because you're far away. right? You're far away, and you're not so far away, but there may be times where you do have to work holidays, and you probably can't be there with your family for the whole entire day, or you're missing celebrations or different kind of events going on, right? So people should know that. And what they don't realize, Kimmy, is the behind the scenes. And that's the main thing that people don't realize. Like they see you, they see the pretty face on TV, reading a prompt or reading a script or just doing a story, right? But they see the final product is what I was trying to get at, like the 5 or 6 or 11 or whatever a time frame your story goes on. But they don't know what you do to prepare yourself. And they don't know that you go through these things and think about those things. They imagine that you have to probably go through something, but being a journalist, you have to encompass all of that. Because sometimes it can be a lonely place to be, because you don't have your family around and friends around because you're on different type of schedules. So I love that answer, but it's definitely a question that's worth asking about mental health and work life balance.
Totally agree. And you couldn't have summarized that better because it is something that more people need to be talking about. We talked a lot about it in college, and I'm really grateful for that because not everyone learns that going into their first job.
Absolutely. And this is a bonus question that just came up in my mind, but
Mm.
how long did it take you to pretty much how do I put this? For soft news and hard news, right? Uh, does it still require a lot for you to separate yourself from hard news stories? Because I've talked to many journalists on here that do the genre of news, and some of them are just, we gotta. It's hard, but I gotta put it in the back of my mind because I have a job to do. And then some of them still take it home with them to this day, and it's hard to separate from it. Did you ever have that difficulty of doing that, or did you just like separate yourself from it after it was done?
Yeah, I think I have an interesting perspective on that because my first job, I was a video editor. So I was completely in the station editing, 50 videos for newscasts, plus like 100 videos for newscasts a day. And through that, like you saw everything like that was running in the news. You saw the unedited video of really horrible things. And for that job, I really had just had to dissociate. Like, I just kind of because I wasn't in the field, I just kind of put that in the side of my mind being like, "Okay, this is just on my computer screen and I'm not taking it home with me." And that's like a very naive thing to say, but because you're doing this every single day repetitively, you have to kind of put that in your mindset and you put up a mental block. And
Sure.
that's what I've
Yeah.
talked about with like a lot of my colleagues at that previous job. We've talked about that. Whereas now that I'm in the field, which I absolutely love being in the field, I wanted to be, boots on the ground in communities talking to people because I am like I just love learning about people and, like, hearing their stories, but it is a lot
Absolutely.
harder hearing people, sometimes break down to you in person or over the phone. I was with a reporter on Sunday, and we covered a really horrible story, and that still kinda sits with me a little bit of just how devastated this mother was about something that her child went through, a bullying incident at his school that he was hospitalized.
Sure.
And it is just those are the types of stories that stick with you, being like, I'm so grateful for my job that I have a platform to put this out there and get her voice heard because, the school district wasn't doing anything about it. But it's horrible to think that, things like that exist in the world and I'm privileged enough not to have experienced that. So that's kind of the flip side of the coin. It's like balancing, you still have to do
Yeah.
your job at the end of the day, but I still take some of it home with me because it just depends on the story.
Sure. Showing that empathy is always important. You hit it on the head, though. The main reason is getting her story out, letting her voice be heard. It's a damn shame that school district didn't do anything about that. No question about it. But you hate to hear stories like that, but you also understand the importance of people knowing because it can happen to you, it can happen to anyone. So we still got to be that. But it's a question worth asking because, again, people need to. I don't know how you prepare for that, how you prepare for something for that. It's kind of like just trial by experience. I always say experience is the best teacher, and I think in those situations you probably would have to be, but it is an interesting question to ask. But it's a great segue to this next question, which is advice. What advice would you give someone Kimmy, that's an intern or maybe a post graduate, or maybe that's somebody that's a little seasoned in age, like myself, that wants to uh, do the same job that you're doing, wants to be in the journalism business. What kind of advice would you give?
That's a good question because it's taken me a bit to kind of get to where I am now. And I would say the biggest thing is find someone that you look up to that's doing that job. That so many people in this business, they understand how difficult it is to get into it, and get that experience and just get that first break. And so, in my experience, so many people are so willing to, be a mentor, give advice, help you. And I think that's been the biggest thing and um, I can't think of the word, but the biggest impact on my career,
Yep. Mhm.
uh, is just having so many people and having networked in college and made incredible connections and friendships with people in this industry. And I think that's the biggest takeaway, but also you have to be hardworking, you have to be curious. I've had people tell me, I know you might not have the experience, but I love your attitude. And so I'm going to hire you based on attitude. And that's something that is so important because you can't be negative in this business. Like you have to love your job or else you're going to be miserable. And so definitely just trying to get that first break, get your portfolio together, get some practice, try to make space for yourself. And it's really difficult to do, especially in a newsroom where, you have your traditional how they operate. That was kind of why I ended up leaving my first job because I always wanted to be a photojournalist. I wanted to be out in the field and I wasn't being given the opportunity to pursue that at my
Mm.
old career or at my old job. So I kind of made the leap to be like, okay, I'm gonna, network. I'm gonna talk to my connections, other photojournalists at other stations in the DC area. And that helped me so much, is asking them all types of questions about how do I, approach leaving my job? How do I apply for jobs? What should I be asking? What are, the hardest things about what you do every day? So I can like kind of be prepared, and it's been really helpful. And even once you get that opportunity, then you can go back to these people, thank them, and also keep asking them questions, being like, I actually
Yeah.
did that last week. I was just having an issue with my camera. And I'm like, how do you keep your camera, like your big news camera, focused while you're following motion? Asked one of my old
Right.
coworkers. And he was more than
Okay.
willing to help me, being like, there's a button on the front of your camera. Thank you. But
The simplest things. I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
little questions. Be curious, ask
Right.
questions. You're not annoying. That's been the biggest thing for me, is just be curious and be outgoing. And, at the end of the day, we're all here to do the same job. So I always have told myself I want to be the best and I want to be good at my job and just do my community good by being good at my job. So,
Absolutely. Great advice. It is. And to piggyback off that, I would say two more things. One, try everything. I always tell my young boys and girls in high school and ones that are still in college, if you want to go this route of journalism, try everything from directing, radio, writing, editing, shooting, whatever it is. Journalistic wise, try it. See if you like it. You may not, but if you don't, then you'll know. You already know because you tried it. So I say try everything for first thing. And the second thing that I always say is be comfortable being uncomfortable. I like to tell my young boys and girls that, and they look at me a little funny when I say that, which is fine. I totally understand that. But when you're being comfortable being uncomfortable, you're going to be in some situations in journalism where it might not be the most comfortable. You might be in a neighborhood that you might not know about. You have to go up to people and random strangers and talk to them, especially during tragic times. You never know how much time you should give somebody or grace you should give somebody before you stick a microphone in their face. You also have to make moves somewhere you've never been. We talked about that. You may have to do some stories that your boss comes to you and you might not like. This is a fulfilling and wonderful business. I love it. I wouldn't change it either. I love doing what I do. I love writing stories. And if you love it, you're going to thrive. But you also have to understand that you got to understand everything that comes with it and make that decisive decision. Like you cannot, this is not a business. You can have one foot in and one foot out. Like you really need to love what you're doing. And if you
yeah.
do, you'll thrive. If not, then you have to just go choose something else. And that's okay too. But just don't come in with misconceptions like that. Sometimes people do. And that's one of the reasons why I do this.
Can I just add on to that? I love that you said be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I've had so many people tell me that, and
Hmm.
I just have to say, when I was in high school, when I took my first journalism class, I was like the
Hmm.
quietest person ever. I was so introverted, didn't talk to anyone, like had a couple friends, kind of
Wow.
just did my own thing. And people look at me now and they're like, "You used to be introverted?" And
Absolutely.
it's something that doing this job and kind of having a passion for it, I had to put myself out there and, approach people and convince myself, the worst they can say is no. And at the end of the day, they're gonna go home and probably forget that they even talked to me. So that has like changed my life and it's really helped me through this career, like learning more about who I am as a person and just has fully formed who I am, became as an adult. And that goes to show that being comfortable with the uncomfortable is like not only for journalism, but just a life advice, I think,
Yep.
because that's the best way to handle change and adversity.
Absolutely. I appreciate your transparency for telling me that. I never would have thunk that because the way that you talk on here is just so smooth and it seems original. But you saying it's a learned skill that you had to learn. And that's awesome that you did. And that's the beautiful thing about journalism. It does bring some qualities out of you that you probably didn't even know that you had yourself back when. So I love that. Thank you for that. And yeah, I just hope people understand that that's something that is not just journalism, it's a lifestyle, like you said. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. The more you are, the better your character is, the better you are as a person, and the better you are dealing with difficult situations and adverse situations. So, can we let's talk a little bit about your horseback riding? I thought that was interesting that you brought that up early, that you did that and you still compete, right? So, tell me, where did that start from? Where did your love for horses start from? What is your end goal with that? Because I would love to see you on my TV. I'll be honest with you, I've never rode a horse in my life, and I don't know much about equestrian type of things, but I would love to learn. And why not start with somebody who's passionate about it like yourself? So tell me about horseback riding and where did it start for you?
Yeah, definitely. So my mom grew up horseback riding. So when my parents had me, naturally, people say it runs in the family, it runs in your blood. It really does. So my mom got me into horseback riding early, and I grew up doing it. That was kind of like my sport instead of doing, high school sports. That was my thing. And
Mhm.
it taught me a lot too. It taught me responsibility. It taught me how to be determined. It taught me dealing with, loss and losing sometimes. The same thing that everyone learns throughout their different sports, right? And when I was 8 years old, I started doing the sport that I do now currently, which is called mounted games. And it's essentially relay races on horseback. It started in England by Prince Philip. It was like cavalry games, but there's a set of different relay races, and you have to jump on and off the horse at a gallop, or lean over and pick stuff up off the ground, and you ride in a team of 5 people. And so I fell in love with that really when I was 8 years old, and so I've done that competing multiple times a year, like probably 10 plus times a year, traveling all over the East Coast, as far west as Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee. It's generally my sport is it's a pretty small sport, but it's generally in the Midwest or mid South and then the East Coast. And yeah, and then I had role models through that growing up as well. So I watched my role models go overseas and win titles, and so then that was my goal as a teenager, was make the world's team, do world individuals. It's not an Olympic sport. We have tried so hard to make it an Olympic sport, but the highest level that we can compete is worlds, and there's, I think, 30 countries that do it now, so that's really exciting. It's continuing to grow. um, and then when I got into college, I kinda had to slow it down a little bit just because it was a big time commitment. And since graduating and starting my career, I've kind of started to get back into it and just realize how much happier it makes me. And, seeing the same set of people that have seen me like through growing up. Cause like I said, it's a small sport. Everyone
Right.
knows everyone. It's so great. So yeah, I've just been trying to keep that up. And right now I might try to go overseas again. Definitely probably not gonna try for worlds. But I have a lot of friends all across the world now from it, which is really incredible. And yeah, they're always like, "Hey, if you wanna come over and compete, one weekend or 1 week, just let me know." So that's kinda something that I've been thinking about more as I've gotten older, but just doing it for fun, doing it to, fulfill my own needs.
Hmm. Have you ever thought about possibly coaching? You've been in it for so long, but what if there's like a young rider that wants to come up and maybe you might look into coaching her on, riding horses? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I've coached a bit in my time doing it and I really enjoy it. I've learned so much over, my 10, 15 years of doing this sport. And so I really enjoy coaching and
Mhm.
it's something I definitely want to do more of in the future. There's a lot of kids coming up in it, which is really exciting to see because kind of my generation was the last generation of kids to come up through my sport. So it's really, really cool to see just a bunch of new kids coming up and watching them grow into and looking up to me on the flip side is really such a rewarding experience because it's the same thing that happened when I was young, looking up to the older riders. So
Love
I
that.
love mentoring and coaching, and that goes for my career too. I love like helping students try to break into their journalism jobs as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely paying it forward. I know I'm getting my master's in May of 25.
Well,
Uh,
congrats.
Thank you so much, Kimmy. I appreciate that. And teaching is definitely something that's been on my mind, as well as other things as well. But such as obviously going to a different, more populated city than what I'm in right now, Minnesota. Because I've done this in Atlanta, I've done this now in Minnesota now. So I want to be able to go to a different population as well. So that's also in my mind. But teaching has been too. I started this year in January, and I really loved what I was learning. I'm getting my master's in professional writing because I'm on the print side predominantly of journalism, but I do broadcast type things as well. And so I definitely respect that. I respect what you're saying about paying it forward because I want to do that exact same thing as well. We've came to the portion of the podcast now where we're going to do my interactive game called This or That. And basically, what that means is I throw some things at you, and you get to choose this or that. So, Kimmy, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. So that we've been vibing all podcast episode long. So let's keep this thing rolling, okay?
All right.
Which chicken place would you rather choose? Popeyes or KFC?
KFC.
Okay, okay, I'm with you on that. I like that. They got the bomb mac and cheese. That you
Yeah.
cannot argue with that, no question.
And mashed
Biscuits
potatoes.
are a little dry. Biscuits a little dry,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah. And in your case, mashed potatoes with gravy. You can't go wrong with that. That's for sure. Okay, I'm with you on that. Chicken wing flavors. Which one are you choosing? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Barbecue.
Okay. Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Normally dry, but I'm not a big lemon person.
Okay. So, do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Boneless.
Okay, so you eat your wings with a fork.
Yeah, I don't like the mess and like having to like work for my food. Like I would rather just be available.
I love it. I love it. Let's be lazy and eat wings. I appreciate that. I appreciate that perspective. I really do. And listen, boneless, you get more meat. Get more meat with
Yep.
the boneless. So why not? I'm totally with you on that. Okay. These next four have to do with music concerts you rather attend.
Okay.
Okay. So which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather see Maroon 5 or Panic at the Disco?
Panic at the Disco.
Okay. All right.
Easy.
You
That
smart.
is my favorite band.
Wow. Yeah, I'm about to say you smiled on that one. Okay. So you really love you some Panic at the Disco. Okay.
I do.
They're a great group. Awesome group. No question about it. Um, which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather see Chris Brown or Usher?
Usher.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather see AJR or would you rather see All Time Low?
All time low.
Okay, okay. I didn't
Who's
know
also
you.
from Maryland.
Right, right. I threw that in there because of that. I was like, okay, I want to see if she knows this. Okay, here we go.
Yep.
Great groups, both of them. Which music concert would you rather go to? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Kendrick Lamar.
Girl, we vibing, damn it. We are
Kendrick
vibing on
Lamar
this.
superiority.
I love this. You got some great music tastes. I love this, Kimmy, no doubt. All right, here we go. Which sport would you rather play, badminton or bowling?
Badminton.
Ooh, are you saying you're a bad bowler?
Yes. I'd rather like I have good aim with like hitting things. I think
Hmm.
I'd be better at it.
Okay, let me ask you, do you know what the thing that you hit in badminton is called?
Oh my God. It's not a birdie, is it?
It is a birdie. Yes.
Birdie.
It's a birdie.
I'm
Yep.
hip. I'm hip.
The reason why I asked that question is many people on this platform didn't even know what the hell they was hitting in the air. They would just call it the thing that we hit in the air. And I'm like, what is the thing? What is the thing? Like, we have to tell them it's a birdie. Yes. I mean, you got it right. You got it right. I love that. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Would you rather watch basketball or football?
Basketball.
Okay.
Answered that one
Uh,
earlier.
I love it. I love it. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Baseball or hockey?
Oh, that's a good one. Those are both like even for me. Probably say baseball just because I haven't watched a lot of hockey. I'm trying to go to a Capitals game this year, so we'll see.
Yes, please let me know if you ever get around to that and do and what your experience is going to a hockey game because it's like none other. And it really isn't.
I know.
Yes,
That's what I've
it's
heard.
damn crazy. No question about it. Okay, do you like desserts?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw four categories of desserts out at you, and you have to choose one of these categories that you'll never eat again. Okay, so here we
Okay.
go. The first one is ice cream. The second one is candy. The third one is cake. The last one is cookies. Which one are you choosing that you'll never eat again?
I have to go with ice cream. I don't
Wow.
eat a lot of ice cream in general. I feel like I could go without it. I can't do a lot of sugar a lot of the time. So sometimes I'll have like a little piece of candy or like a small piece of cake or a cookie, but like ice cream I can never finish.
Okay. Okay. What's your favorite piece of cake?
Um, Probably vanilla with chocolate frosting.
Mm. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I'm a red velvet person, so definitely red velvet for me.
Red velvet
No,
cake
no question.
too.
I love that. Do you like potato chips?
Yes.
Okay, so same format, four brands. You got to get rid of one of these that you'll never eat again. So here we go. First brand is Pringles. The second brand is Lay's. The third brand is Ruffles. The last brand is Doritos. Which brand are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Lay's.
Damn it, girl, we're on point. You on point like a period right now. I like that. That is what's up. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite chip to eat?
I like kettle cooked chips. I like Pringles. When you said Pringles, I eat Pringles a lot. So,
Okay.
either kettle cooked or Pringles.
I'm about to say, Kimmy, we was in a boat and we were sailing just fine. And when you said kettle chips, you just fell out the boat. I was like, what in the world? Kettle chips? Oh my lord. I've tried them. I've actually tried them for the very first time with a cheeseburger out here in Minnesota because they didn't have
Oh
fries
wow.
at this particular
Huh.
restaurant. So they had chips. I was like,
Mhm.
wow, y'all don't even have like hash browns? Y'all don't have none of that? Like, no, we just have kettle chips. And I tried kettle chips, and the first time I tried it, I almost spit it out. I was like, oh Lord.
Really?
Yeah, it was bad. It was awful. I even got the barbecue flavor ones because I love me some barbecue. That ain't it. But you know what? To each his own. That means more kettle chips for you to eat less
Exactly.
for me. You know what I mean? So we good with that. Okay. You did pretty good on this or that, by the way. That was really
Thank
good.
you.
Um, I love asking this next question, which is if it wasn't journalism that the career that you would have, pursued, what
Mhm.
career would you have pursued and why?
That's such a tough question. Like I've been asked that before and it's so difficult for me to answer because I genuinely can't see myself doing anything else. But if I had to say, it would still probably be something creative. Whether that's, creative marketing or social media or graphic design. Um, just because I like love having a creative outlet
Hmm.
and journalism, being in the field especially and doing what I do, it gives me such an incredible creative outlet. But that said, I also do a lot of like animation work in After Effects, and I've been getting trying to get better at graphic design for my job now, but I really found like a passion for that. And I also enjoy running my own social media. I always say I don't think I would enjoy it as much if it was my job, but if it came down to it, I would love to do social media if that was like the only other option, if I couldn't do what I do now, just because there's so much to be lucrative there. It's constantly growing, it's not going away. Um, but those are probably my answers. But I just love what I do so much. You don't like a lot of people are like, I have never met someone that's, you know, so passionate and driven at your age. And I'm just like, I don't know.
Right. No, I'm sorry because I love that. I love the fact that you are passionate, and when you love something that you just love to do, you don't call it work, like you said. So, please keep that passion, keep that fire. It's the same kind of passion that I exhibit as well, doing what I do. I would probably say theater though, for me. I love plays. I love musicals. So I'm huge into that.
I don't know if you can see my mug.
I
It's a mom.
cannot.
It's a
Um,
mama. It's a Mamma Mia mug from
Mamma Mia, yeah,
the
that's
Kennedy
right.
Center.
Absolutely, Mamma Mia. That's probably top 10 in my musicals for sure. My top three is Hamilton, Wicked, and Hairspray. Those are my top three.
Those are good top
Uh,
three.
absolutely, I love that, and cannot wait for the new Wicked to come out. Hopefully, it doesn't disappoint. So I'm looking forward to seeing that for sure. Um, I love asking this next question as well, and this is a top four. What is the top four of events that you would like to cover in your journalistic career? And I'll give you an example with mine. Mine being, I'm a huge sports person. It would be Super Bowl. It would be NBA Finals. It would be national championship game, college football or basketball, and the Olympics. Since they're going to be in my hometown state of California, why not be there in 28? That would be amazing. So that would be my four. What is your top four?
Gotcha. Well, I hope you get to cover all of those. Those are
Hmm,
great options for sports.
thank you. I appreciate it.
I think one, because I work in DC, the inauguration, which I should be covering the inauguration this upcoming year. So that is
Yeah,
really
yeah,
exciting. Even when I was in college, I was like, I want to work in DC. I want to cover, these big events. And so that's been number one for me. And on top of that, I think the Kennedy Center Honors, which is just kind of like a celebrity award show program that the Kennedy Center has every year, and it's like a red carpet event. A lot of like my favorite like celebrities and influencers have gone to it in the past, and I just think that's really cool. I've watched like my colleagues cover it. So that's been one that's been on my mind actually. And then
okay,
on top of that, I haven't really thought like too much about it. But definitely, like these are all DC related just because that's kind of, like, where my mind is going,
sure, sure.
but I would love to cover, um, like, a march on Washington, or, like, a women's march or something like that, I think would be
Okay.
really cool, and that's, like, that will happen, like,
That
inevitably,
would be
like,
amazing.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty new to
absolutely.
my job still, so I'm really
Right,
looking forward to when I have the opportunity to do that. Um,
right.
like kind of being there, like capturing history, I think is one of my favorite parts about being a photojournalist. And then also, like, I would love to like cover a concert. I remember my old boss used to joke. I love Taylor Swift, so he was like, "Why don't you pitch a story on a Taylor Swift concert so you can go like cover it?" I'm like, I don't think that's how that works, but I like the idea.
I feel you. So you are a Swiftie, huh?
I am a Swiftie.
Oh, okay, okay. Now I'm not a Swiftie. However, her 1989 album is one of my favorites, no question about it.
Good
I just
choice.
thought the Eras tour is just it's outrageous. I literally went on a cruise about a month ago, and the same time I was flying down to Miami to port for my cruise was the same weekend that Taylor Swift had her three concerts in Miami,
Gosh.
which was crazy because everybody on the flight was a Taylor Swift attendee to the concert. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody. So they were singing songs from "Shake It Off" to "Wildest Dreams" the entire flight. It was like it was like your own concert up in the air. It was like crazy.
That's awesome.
But yeah, have you went to a Taylor Swift concert?
I have not. I wasn't able to get tickets to the Eras tour. Tried really, really hard. I'm like
Mm,
so bummed about it, but I'm hoping her next tour I can go. I kind of became like a big Taylor Swift fan while the Eras tour was going on. So
okay, okay. So this latest album is something that you really like.
yeah, I do like the latest album. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but when it came out, I was listening to it like nonstop.
Okay. I like the one that she does with Post Malone. That's a song that I like.
Fortnite. That's
Fortnite.
great. Yeah, it's a good song.
One of my favorites. But yes, definitely the 1989 album with the Wildest Dreams, which is
Mhm.
probably my favorite tone of hers for sure.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's what's up. What is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I think the biggest piece of advice that someone's given me probably is don't be afraid to stand up for yourself.
Mm,
Because you're gonna be your biggest advocate. And
yep.
that's something I've unfortunately had to exercise a lot as, coming out of college, you don't have as much respect, which understandably, but you don't have as much like respect coming out of college in the careers sometimes as in jobs. And so definitely just, standing true to yourself, standing true to what you know, being confident in your skills,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, you're gonna be, your biggest fighter and your biggest advocate. No one else is gonna fight for you, or you shouldn't rely on other people to fight for you, I should say, because at the end of the day, it's just you and your job. So I think that's like kind of the biggest piece of advice and something I wish more people talked about in college, to be honest. Because it was definitely a big adjustment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Know your worth. It's pretty much what you're saying. Be an advocate for yourself and understand that you know, in this industry, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit with the first job you had, right? You had to make that decision to make the jump and the leap to what you wanted because you saw a vision for yourself. Sometimes other people's visions don't align with your vision, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's just a matter of you have to be able to be, like you said, your biggest advocate and make that move and be decisive about it. It's kind of the reason why I went freelance. I was working with a publication for almost 2 years out here in Minnesota, and I was told that I was below average, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And these people just gave me a raise. They just gave me a raise and gave me all the praise in the first like 6 months, and then the next 6 months they said I was below average. I said, "Well, how did I go backwards? I thought I was doing pretty good. Our numbers is up, our views is up, subscriptions is up. What's going on?" And they told me that they did not have the tools and the resources to make me a better journalist. Now, Kimmy, normally when you have hierarchy officials that's telling you that, uh, my thing is to exit stage right because
Yeah.
there's no point of me being somewhere if I can't improve. That doesn't make any sense.
Like,
So, and like you in your situation, you didn't see growth. So
mhm.
I didn't see growth either. So, and we have to make those difficult decisions. And people don't be afraid to do that. It's okay. If you got to talk to people about it, if you got to get advice on it, definitely do that. But don't be afraid to make those decisions because your career is your career. And it's not that they don't have your best interests at heart. They just don't see your vision. People are not going to see it because you're the only one that does. So, uh, please, definitely don't be afraid ever to make those kind of decisions. Because sometimes they're needed. It was the best decision for me because I felt more freer. I felt like I had more time. I could do some of the things I want to do, go to the places I want to cover the games I want to. And now look at you. You're a photojournalist. Instead of just editing in the station, you're out and about as well. So definitely don't hesitate. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put it any better.
Right, right. No doubt. Um, we're getting close to the end of the podcast. So what I want to do now is do some rapid fire questions with you. First thing that comes to your mind. Okay, I want you to just blurt out, shout out, whatever you want to do. Okay, Kimmy, are you ready?
I am ready, Chris.
Okay, here we go. Burgers or tacos?
Burgers.
Okay, waffles or not waffles, waffles or pancakes.
Pancakes.
Okay, chicken or ribs.
Chicken.
Favorite color.
Blue.
Favorite TV show.
Abbott Elementary.
I've never heard of that one. What's that? What's that show?
Abbott Elementary. It's
Abbott
so good.
Elementary.
It's on Hulu. It's so good. It's like Emmy award winning. It's a sitcom.
No, no, no. I was talking about the part, not the Abbott
Uh,
Elementary.
yeah,
I
that one
feel
got
you.
stuck.
I got you. I got you. No, we got there though. Okay. Favorite alcoholic drink.
Tequila.
Ooh, okay. You like the good stuff. Are we talking like 1800? We talking about Don Julio? What are we talking about?
I like Don Julio Blanco is my favorite.
Absolutely. You definitely know the good sugar honey iced tea. I'm with you on that. Okay. If you had three people to take on vacation plus you, which means four, where would you go and who would you take?
Okay, I would probably go to the beach. Probably like North Carolina beaches. Um,
Mm,
and I would take my two best friends, like best friends since childhood, Paxton and Maggie, and my boyfriend.
all right. Well, shout out to Paxton and Maggie and to the boyfriend. I think that'd be a great trip for sure. That'd be awesome. I don't know what beach you talking about in North Carolina, but whatever beach that is.
Like Outer Banks.
Okay, there we go. Okay, got you. Because listen, I know Myrtle Beach, but that's in South Carolina. I think it's
Yeah,
South Carolina. Or Hilton Head. I also think it's in South Carolina as
that's South
well.
Carolina.
Okay, so there you go. Okay. Favorite board game.
Favorite board game. I haven't played a board game in a really long time.
Wow.
I played like games with my friends. I don't know. I loved Clue growing up. So I guess
Okay.
I'll go with Clue. That was
We'll
kind of
roll
my
with that. Okay. Spades or dominoes.
dominoes.
Okay. Favorite card game.
Oh, that's a good one. I like gin rummy.
Okay.
Played a
Not
lot
many
of card
people.
games in my time overseas and just
Yeah.
traveling.
Yeah. Not many people know about that game. It's a good game though. I like some Jim Rummy. That's for sure. Okay. If you had three artists or three songs to listen to on repeat and never get tired of, who would those three artists or three songs be?
I'm gonna go with artists because it's so hard for me to pick favorite songs, and my music taste is like constantly evolving. But
Sure.
I'd have to go with Taylor Swift, Panic at the Disco, and my gosh, I don't even know what I've been listening to. I'm like so disoriented on music right now. But who did I see this year? Sorry, I have to think for a
Yeah,
second.
that's okay. That means it's a good question. I love
It is a good question. I
it.
listen to a lot of music, which is like my difficulty.
That's
Uh,
okay. You got Taylor
we'll go
Swift, Panic at the Disco.
we'll go Taylor Swift, Panic at the Disco, and Sabrina Carpenter.
Wow. Okay. Those are three definitely different kind of artists, no question. But obviously very good artists. Hey Look Ma, I Made It is definitely one of my favorite Panic at the Disco songs, no doubt.
Love it.
Um, if they came to you, Kimmy, and said you have to do this for the rest of your career, video edit or be a photojournalist, which one would you choose?
Be a photojournalist. Easy question.
Probably the easiest of the podcast episodes, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I love that. I love it. This has been a really, really dope conversation of just getting to
Yeah.
know you about your beginnings. From, if I'm not mistaken, it was Middletown High School that you went
Yeah.
to. Yep, Middletown High School. Growing up there, and pretty much, and also working there. It is absolutely a blessing to be working in your hometown. But again, it goes to your work ethic, and it goes to the opportunity that you had presented to you and taking advantage of it. I'm sure you've done some incredible stories. We'll continue to do incredible stories. It's great getting to know you as you love dry wings, boneless, dry wings. Terrible bowler, but that's okay. But love basketball, which you are always going to be in my good graces because that is a sport that I love dearly. But just getting to know you a little bit has been amazing. So, as I always do at the end of my podcast episode, I ask this: is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, the job, or anything in general before we conclude?
Yeah, I think I would just like to add that, for anyone listening to this, that maybe sees where I'm at and like, I don't know if I can ever get there. Like, don't sell yourself short. You can do it. And don't be afraid to like push boundaries. I'm in a field where there's not a lot of women photojournalists, and that's been something in my career, my short like couple of months at the job that I'm at now.
Yeah.
I've, like, experienced that in the field of people coming up to me saying derogatory things about because I'm a woman holding a big camera and just really horrible things, and that only drives me to wanna do my job better, and I think that is the only other thing I wanted to add is that, it's hard to be a woman doing this job, and I just am so grateful that I'm able to, push that boundary and try to bring more women into it. So that would be the only other thing that I wanted to add.
I appreciate that. I really do, Kimmy. I appreciate you telling us that. Again, your transparency on that is never an easy thing to hear comments like that. And all of us as journalists, including us men, should be supportive of all of our colleagues, male or female, in this business because it's very difficult to do. So I just commend you for doing such a great job and being an advocate and continuing on to do great stories. So I'm a new fan of yours. I'll definitely keep in touch. You enjoy the rest of your Tuesday and the rest of your week. And I'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Chris. It was great getting to know you, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Absolutely. Take care now.
Thanks, you too. Bye bye.